I'm going to show how to take these tracks off on this Polaris 1000, put the stock wheels back on, basically what tools you need and the simple what it takes and how much time. Same thing can go for putting them back on too. Jack and jack stands, very important. So the first thing I did, I put it in neutral, that way I can spin the tracks because these lug nuts are hard to reach in here. So what I'm going to be using is a 19 millimeter on this, and there's going to be different lug nuts for the wheels and this. So I'm going to take those two off, spin it, and then I can reach the other two. Yep. So like I said, you can get those two lug nuts at a time, 19 millimeter, and then spin it and get the other one. So what we're going to be doing is taking off the bracket that pinches this together here, and it kind of hooks on the lower sway bar, the bar here. So we're going to take off this front bolt and that bolt right there, and that'll bracket piece right there will pop up. Okay, now that I took the lug nuts off, I'm going to use a 15 millimeter to hold the wrench on the top, and I'm going to do a 17 on the bottom, 2 bolts down there. 15 holds the top, 17 to get the bottoms. So once you get these 2 bolts off, again, the top is a 15, bottom is a 17. This bracket here kind of hooks onto the lower bar here, and then you I used a wooden block and I hammered down on this part here. Let's see if I can't get it all right. So I hammered down on this, it dropped that, and then you just kind of twist it off and it came off. I'm just gonna put the bolts back in there and leave it for next fall. So now that I got that bracket off, the track is off. These are the difference in the lug nuts. These are the stock lug nuts for the wheels. These are for the tracks. They have an open end where the lug can come all the way through. And I'm gonna hand tighten them all, and then I'll hit them with the impact lightly. Same thing with the other side. Get these 19 millimeter lug nuts, rotate the tracks so I can get the other ones, and then get the 15 and 17 millimeter bolt on the other side, hammer down the bracket. So as easy as that. Just keep in mind that the arrows are pointing forward in the direction it's gonna go on both these metal plates. Again, 15, 17 in the bottom. This one I had to take a block of wood and hammer this down once this plate came off. A little bit harder than the first one. So what I noticed the difference between the front and the back, like if you're installing the tracks, put the bracket on first on the back, and then put the track onto the lug nuts or the hub. Where in the front, I'm gonna do the bracket first, disassembling it, and then I'll put the lugs on. It just has more room here. I can turn the wheel and I can see. Where in the back, you don't have that extra room. Okay, I took the size 19 lug nut off the front, and on the front, it's a little bit different depending on how you put your bolts. So I switched it around. I have a 17 wrench here and a 15 ratchet because the ratchet wouldn't fit in here. So I'm gonna crank it from the other direction. And what I'm noticing here, I think that these things are out of adjustment. These are anti-oversteering wires here. So I guess that's probably fine. But I could probably tighten those up anyways, these wires here. But for now, you just pull this plate off right here, or you put it back on, one of the two. This bolt here and this bolt there. And then there's the underside, just those 2 bolts. It should come right off. Okay, just like the back, there's an arrow showing which direction front, and this plate basically goes right on top. This is the steering adjuster, so it makes it so you don't oversteer. You could undo this and twist this in a little bit. I'm gonna leave it how the dealership did it. And this has an arrow going backwards, so this will be in the front. So again, just like this. And I'm going to put the bolts back in it, so it's there for next season. All right, as easy as that. You need a 19 millimeter, 17 and a 15. And when you're putting the tires on, make sure you have the rotation right. It says a rotation on the wheel. So they are rotating a specific way. And that's kind of it. It took me, I don't know, an hour and a half.